As a vampire, you have access to skills in combat as well as outside of combat, often to help you traverse a semi-open world. The most efficient way to grow stronger is to feed from the healthy, not to fight those risking the flu and pollution in the streets to hunt vampires and skulls. If we were unable to beat this mini-boss, we would be tempted to return to the bar, and perhaps feed from Tom for a greater experience boost, returning stronger, but with London thinning in numbers. Vampire's combat system uses a mix of melee and ranged weapons supported by vampire abilities that allow you to be the vampire you want to be. The gameplay is based on timing, positioning, and management of different resources. The stamina bar regulates your melee moves and dodges, the blood bar controls the use of your supernatural abilities, and the health bar represents your health. There are many areas to explore, loot, and pick up information to learn about the world, its lore, and what happened to London since disease spread. At the beach, we're fighting people operating under the head of the vampire hunter's orders. The Pruin guards are investigating this beach, searching for skulls.
Stay close, keep an eye on each other.
Skulls are a lesser species of vampires lurking in quarantine areas, underground or in dark corners. Due to the Spanish flu epidemic, they have suffered heavy mutations and have recently become very aggressive. It's part of your quest to understand how they became such creatures and ultimately find a cure to save them. In this world, the human vampire hunters and skulls are having their own fight. As long as we don't get too close, we can just move on.
Steady, boys. We got one of them here. I've got... He's dead. You're mine, vermin!
Sector is clear. Not clear! Not clear!
As a vampire, you have access to skills in combat as well as outside of combat, often to help you traverse a semi-open world. The most efficient way to grow stronger is to feed from the healthy, not to fight those risking the flu and pollution in the streets to hunt vampires and skulls. If we were unable to beat this mini-boss, we would be tempted to return to the bar, and perhaps feed from Tom for a greater experience boost, returning stronger, but with London thinning in numbers. Vampire's combat system uses a mix of melee and ranged weapons supported by vampire abilities that allow you to be the vampire you want to be. The gameplay is based on timing, positioning, and management of different resources. The stamina bar regulates your melee moves and dodges, the blood bar controls the use of your supernatural abilities, and the health bar represents your health. There are many areas to explore, loot, and pick up information to learn about the world, its lore, and what happened to London since disease spread.
One here, I
At the beach, we're fighting people operating under the head of the vampire hunter's orders. The Pruin guards are investigating this beach, searching for Skulls.
Stay close, keep an eye on each other.
Skulls are a lesser species of vampires lurking in quarantine areas, underground or in dark corners. Due to the Spanish flu epidemic, they have suffered heavy mutations and have recently become very aggressive. It's part of your quest to understand how they became such creatures and ultimately find a cure to save them. In this world, the human vampire hunters and Skulls are having their own fight. As long as we don't get too close, we can just move on.
Steady, boys. We got one of them here. I've got...
We can do more than Alexander did.
You will have his say before this war is over. Good, evil. These are phantasms of the desert. Willpower is all that matters. You may not be a king, Bayek, but history follows you.
Okeini chorom nuad ha mi father smi fater father senji thavi nuad na chwedin gud moda vegatelu Okeini chorom stu
do they unearth?
They are summoning death. But it will be death for all.
What is she?
Do you grow? Do you wither?
Talia, you cannot defeat her.
What would you suggest I do?
Throw down your sword and kneel.
What have we unleashed?
The cry of the forests. Scream of the rivers.
This foe is beyond us, Celebrimbor.
Not with the spirit of Kana at our side.
is on me now.
This burden of responsibility.
For my home.
For those who live here.
For my family.
These are dangerous times.
But these are my decisions to make.
And whatever path I take, family is all.
Family is all.
Everything you experience is a projection of what your character experiences in the game. No matter which view you prefer, you will not be able to see things if your character doesn't see them or feel them. This means if you want to see behind the wall, you'll have to take a peek and risk compromising your position. The moment you take a look, your character's awareness will kick in. What will be shown to you on the screen is a result of complex equations that involve your character's awareness and tactics skill versus the enemy's stealth and camouflage skills. The red outlines representing that tactics skill have been activated also. Notice that it works for both the first-person and third-person perspective. Once tactics time expires, you'll lose information about the enemy's position. The only way to get it again is to take another look. A higher level of awareness will give you some additional benefits, such as the ability to detect imminent dangers. It won't work 100% of the time, but when you get notified, be sure to react swiftly, or you may lose your life. Okay, let's cover the stealth skill now. The stealth skill is linked with the dexterity attribute, but it also depends on other factors. To determine the final level of noise that your character makes, we first analyze the type and amount of gear your character carries. Then we take into consideration the movement and ground material type. This is the starting point of the noise level calculations. Don't you simply hate when you think that you're safely hidden far away in dense foliage just to realize that you stick out like a dog's balls? In Scum, our methods allow players to be equally competitive regardless of the graphical settings they use to play the game. The guy at camp is preparing some delicious beans. Let's call him Donald. 3 soldiers are approaching him over the hill. The left one, called Huey, is crawling through dense vegetation. The middle one, Dewey, is crouching his way towards the larger bush, and the right one is simply walking straight in the open like John Wayne in Sands of Iwo Jima. Let's address him as Louie. Notice that from the Donald's perspective, he only sees Louie. Dewey is well hidden in the bush, while Huey can't be seen because he's well camouflaged. On far distances, the game engine doesn't render foliage, yet still Huey is invisible until he decides to blow his cover simply by changing his stance. At that moment, his camouflage has been terminated and he becomes visible. The camouflage skill can only be activated in dense foliage when your character is prone and out of plain sight.
What really puts Machine Guns on the map is that whilst we're making really strong narrative games, we give enough room to have the proper gameplay experience.
So if you look at it from a scientific point of view, it's a fantasy, it's not real life. But from an emotional point of view, we want it to feel real. We want you to feel like you're there.
Nazis work really well because we can all agree that they're bad guys. You don't mind wiping them out.
I mean, who doesn't want to kill Nazis?
Let me first make it absolutely clear that I am not a Nazi.
The Nazis have really expanded when it comes to research with the technology. So you will see old versions coming back but improved with new technology, but you also see completely new enemies.
We have bumped them up a bit. They are a little bit bigger, more intimidating, more fun to kill, I hope.
If you're up for the challenge, you can definitely bring up your biggest guns and try and take them head on. If you're good, it might work. On the other hand, if you want to be more clever, maybe you want to find a vantage point, bring up a weapon that you attach a scope on and maybe even a silencer and start taking them out from afar. you go down, you start sneaking, start taking them out with melee moves in a more precise manner. With stealth in Wolfenstein, it's not about avoiding contact or avoid killing, it's about how to kill them silently, how to take them out one by one. If it goes wrong, you can still just bring up 2 weapons and clear the room.
Each combat scenario has 1 or 2 commanders, and those are the important targets. What we're doing now for New Colossus is to make sure that the commanders can call for reinforcement several times.
I think the coolest thing we've done is that you can now dual wield freely. You can mix the weapons any way you want with left and right hand. I enjoy having like a precise silent weapon in one hand and then like my backup if shit breaks loose. This is my go-to, so I don't have to start switching weapon during combat. But you can also see people going with 1 long range and 1 close range. You know, you walk around the corner, you have your close range weapon ready. And some people just want 2 shotguns.
We are introducing a hatchet. That gives us a lot of opportunities to make the takedowns a little bit more accessible. There's a lot of things you can do with a hatchet and a Nazi.
No matter how crazy things get, you are always emotionally invested in what you're doing.
We don't want the player to just play BJ Blazkowicz. We want the player to feel like they actually are BJ Blazkowicz.
For this game, our theme was catharsis. So at the end of it, I think you will be ready to go out on the streets and start a revolution.
What the hell? Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
Very soon you're going to be hearing about us. A lot. Therefore, allow me to make a formal introduction. We are the Raid Gang. Men and women drawn from every nation that would stand against you. And we've been given a mission.
We are going to steal every mark and fennec you have.
Kick every goose step and ass we can find.
Make you a nation of widows. And reduce your Reich to ashes. Nothing can
wait to get started. See you soon. Sincerely, Mrs. White.
Few dare trespass here. Those that do seek the glory of the hunt, to challenge themselves in a land like no other. But they never find glory, only death.
I'm not here for glory. I'm here for the mountain. For answers.
Then you must face the beast that guards it.
Mac, how do we always end up in situations like this?
Another first place. Next time, I'll put my money on you. Crap! Cops! They're coming from everywhere!
Alright, get me out of here, Mac.
Move! They're closing the road ahead. A small window on the left.
You sure I'm gonna fit?
Plenty of room. Like a glove, baby. We got spike strips. Slow it down.
On a mission, no other way they can stop me now.
Mac, did you see that?
I did. Come on, let's get you home.
Sounds good to me.
At the end of this, you will need to turn left at...
Whoa! It's a cop! No! Okay, come on. Start for me. Mac, he hit me with something, Mac. I can't start her. I can't hear you, Mac. You're breaking up.
Big-ass rhino! Go! There is a big-ass rhino coming at you.
Really? I didn't notice. All right, then. Let's try to keep up.
On a mission, no other way they can stop me now.
How long do you say this place has been abandoned?
Zoe?
There's a lot more to bioterrorism than we thought.